8:25, back here on Wednesday's Breakfast Television, and the chance to dive into an important topic when it comes to learning here in BC. We are talking STEM learning. Gerald Solomon joining us right now, co-founder of the STEM Network, and Dr. Scott Sampson, president and CEO of Science World. Gerald, let's start here. When we hear STEM learning, what is it and why is it such a priority for students today?
Great question. So the STEM ecosystem is exactly what you might think an ecosystem is, which is the interconnectivity of all learning platforms on how you change the way kids learn, how platforms for learning teach, and how you develop a robust workforce so that individuals and communities can thrive. Imagine like an automobile. In order for it to optimize, everything has to be integrated and work together. The wheels, the steering, the ignition, etc. It's the same kind of concept of how do you put it all together so that it works fluidly so that kids can learn and you can really optimize the opportunities for communities.
And we're looking at science, technology, engineering, and math. And Scott, some of the findings are interesting, and I want to point out these stats because I thought they were quite notable. 82% of future jobs will require STEM literacy. 2/3 of students entering elementary school today will work in jobs that do not exist today. How is learning, as you see here, especially in BC, really evolving with students right now?
Yeah, so we're training youth for jobs that currently don't exist, which is kind of bizarre. So how do we do that? We need to train them in sort of 21st century learning skills, things like collaboration and critical thinking. And BC is actually on the cutting edge compared to much of the rest of North America, with its focus not so much on rote learning and testing anymore, but more on big ideas and competencies around, personalizing education and these big thinking types of approaches to education. So we have this moment right now where we can leverage what BC is doing and take it to another level and really be some of the leaders in rethinking education.
Who is a leader worldwide, Gerald, from what you've seen with the network when it comes to these critical thinking skills that Scott's mentioning?
As far as a company or a group of funders?
The ecosystem.
So the ecosystem, we have 56 now around North America, and we're developing internationally as well, and Vancouver now is going to be the first internationally. So when you go around, what's interesting is they're all unique because the concept behind the ecosystem is that it's all localized. It's about how do you create an architecture for each individual community to think about its own particular needs. So what may happen in Vancouver versus Tulsa versus Orange County, California, or New York are all very different. So they all have wonderful opportunities and have created great platforms for learning for kids.
And with these platforms, Symbiosis is one Science World is championing here in the province, Scott. This notion of STEM learning in our province, is BC ready to compete globally with our students for the next generation of leaders?
Yeah, I think we are. Symbiosis is this new initiative that Science World is helping to spearhead, and it really is cross-sector. I mean, we're going to have government involved in higher education and K through 12 and business and other nonprofits. And the idea here is teachers can't really personalize education for 20 or 30 kids in a classroom, but if we merge the community with the classroom and bring mentors in and get the students going out into the community, we truly can personalize it and transform learning so that we can really scale these levels of STEM literacy. So it's not about creating more scientists, it's about getting everybody literate in these fields, science, tech, engineering, and math, so that they can move into this knowledge economy, which is our very near future.
What about the impact on social issues? What will we see there?
Well, it's fascinating. I think it depends on which social issues you're talking about, but we are going to see a transformation of our culture that is driven by this digital disruption, and so we need to get ready for it. And so part of this is, on the one hand, having people understand how their places work, how interdependent everything they do is. On the other hand, they need to relate to and understand their place and act on behalf of it. So this is a complex time, and nobody has the answer, but we here in BC really can be on the cutting edge of inventing that.
Well, we've got the Twitter handle for you to follow along with Science World. They are championing this idea here in the province. It's going to help our students and leaders of tomorrow. Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming by.
Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
An important topic. We'll take a break.